Hello there folks, Seiko StarCraft back with Game 4 between Gung Fu Banda and Quantic Hyun. This is for the finals of the 156th Zotac Cup. We have Hyun up here in the top left at the red Zerg. He is up 2-1 in this series. This is a best of 5, so that means that Quantic Hyun could wrap it up here with this game. Gung Fu Panda obviously only has one win, so he is going to need a couple of wins here to try to bring it back up. The first two games, I think Gung Fu played extremely well. The last game was kind of a wipe. He just kind of got tossed around that game. And I don't think it's just because of the map. I can't remember what the name of that map is again. I like it a lot. But I've seen Protoss players do quite bad against Zerg players on that map in particular. Ahaha! Essentially what has been able to happen is that Gung Fu has been here getting down a block every single game. So what Hyun is essentially saying is that every single game Gung Fu has been going one gate. But last game we actually had a forge down first. So in this game though it is still just a one gate out of our friend here. I was wanting to see if he's going to send a zealot across the map, but that doesn't look to be the case. He's just going to go for the macro. Last game we did see Gung Fu try to go off for something a little bit crazier. He tried to go for some 2-base Dark Templar, but he didn't really have enough time to pull it off. The Zerg player did scout the Twilight Counselors, so obviously it's not very easy to pull off something like Dark Templars when they get scouted super early. So those really never even got out onto the map to make a difference. Probe is already out on this side of the map. Let's see if he's going to try and throw down a pylon. Je suis pylon. Somewhere on this side of the map. Or he's just coming in for a late scout later maybe, just to see if a third hatch goes down. Speed will be finished up here really soon. That's a bit earlier speed from Hyun this game than what we've seen in the past. And what I have noticed that Gung Fu likes to do is try to get down three or four gateways as part of his early composition. We don't really see early Robo. We haven't seen like a one gate Stargate. Nothing too crazy. So the playstyle has been very straightforward for the Protoss. And I think it's important for the Protoss to mix it up. Because as a Zerg player, most of the time they're going to know what you're going to do. You're going to try to get up a huge economy, figure out what your opponent's doing, and go bust it. So it's not as important to really know about the mid-game tech path of the Zerg player, because you just need to see if he's going for some early game kind of pressure. Whereas for the Protoss player, it's extremely vital to know what the early game tech path is, because if you don't get it right, and you have this really sick 2-base Immortal Sentry push coming in, you're going to lose. If you have maybe Oracles popping out and you don't have enough stuff in place for it, like 2 Oracles, probably cut down a ton of workers. We have Phoenixes. We had Phoenixes in game 2, which Gung Fu won. So it doesn't surprise me that he's going for this kind of composition again. Lings are just checking out the front. We've not seen any dramatically third fast bases from the Protoss player, so I didn't think he was expecting to see anything there. If we look at the units, fairly even on workers. Hyun is not massed up as fast this game. He looks like he's going for tech a little bit quicker. He has 3 gases already down, and his lair tech is most of the way done. So we might see some really fast Mutalisk. Could be cool. But because the Protoss is going Phoenix, that would probably not work out that well for him. Forge is going to go down. We have seen that the Protoss player has been much more favoring the early upgrades than the Zerg has for most games. A lot of the time because we see this early gateway count coming out of the Protoss player and getting that +1 attack for your Zealots for putting on early game pressure. So vital to be able to 2-shot Zerglings. That's why, and most of the time you're going to see that these Zerg players actually get an attack out first rather than defense. So even if they do have 1 Evo chamber, a lot of times it still just means that they're going to still get 2-shotted. Roach Hydra, we're getting out some upgrades a little bit faster this time from Hyun. So I'm thinking that this is going to be Roach Hydra into Swarm Host. But he has had to cut quite a bit of workers in order to get this tech up a lot sooner. We do see the one Scout Phoenix in here. Probably sees that the worker count is much lower this game than the other games for Hyun. Does have the 3 gas, 4 gas, and kind of split up too amongst the bases. I don't necessarily get doing that, but you know, to each their own. I generally try to take all my gas at one base, so that way they both run out at the same time and I don't end up getting too confused. Nothing really in place to deny these Phoenixes just yet, but once again there isn't a lot of drones. Oh, a bunch of drones just popped, so that's a little unfortunate. How many did he actually snag there? Snagged 6, so that's pretty effective. Chopping down the rocks. On this side we got the robo facility. Going to be moving into Colossus probably just as he's ready to move into his 3rd base. That'll keep him up and defended well until he gets up maybe 4 or 5 Colossus. And then he'll probably feel much safer about pushing onto the map. Might have been worthwhile for these Phoenixes to try to hunt down that Overseer. Every unit kills, fairly important. Lots of Overseers in this composition. Just wants to be able to pick off any observers that are out. And I don't think he's too afraid of Dark Templar attacks, but if you're not prepared for it, you can lose a lot of stuff really fast just by being a little out of position. Not a ton of units here, not that big of an army for Hyun just yet, but it is still pretty good size compared to the Protoss. Force fields and 1 Immortal out right now. This should be enough to deny this 3rd base, I would think. A few more units streaming across, which will help a whole bunch. I don't think that Gung Fu feels he can actually go up against this. The Zealots in the front to tank are going to be pretty important. These Hydras are just going to DPS down these Stalkers and stuff too fast. Immortal's doing pretty good work right now. 3 kills already on it. Phoenix coming in. We'll be able to pick up more units on the way as well. So that got pushed back pretty good by Gung Fu there, but a lot more units streaming across, lots of lings, 11 more roaches on the way. This is keeping the tech of the Protoss player a little bit more pinned right now. Still producing, well, he's actually got his Colossus on the way. +2 attack. So we got 0-1 versus 0-1. So an upgrade tie. These lings are actually going to be pretty effective. There's not a lot of Zealots in this composition, and these lings are tanking a lot of the damage and getting right on top of all the Stalkers. This is actually going to work out really, really well. I think that Gung Fu's in a little bit of trouble here. These Phoenixes actually come in to help save him, though. This Colossus is going to be just in the nick of time to try to hang on to this base. We do see the... Ooh, he did lose that Colossus. That's pretty unfortunate. We see the Spire coming down from Hyun right now. Planetary Nexus would have been a pretty good move right now. There's enough roaches here to two-shot a lot of the units. Pulling off the drones early to try to put on the surround. We're going to try and focus down the sentry. Brand new sentry getting target down. Very worthwhile. Behind us, 4th base. Immediately going to get those gases. 10 more Hydras on the way. We'll see if he wants to produce a few more drones, or let's see if he's actually got enough. I think he's got enough to sit on that for right now. He could probably produce a handful more workers. I don't think it's that critical of a component right now to his composition. Main base still has some minerals in it, so got a pretty good spread on the mineral patches. Protoss player is in the same boat, but now he does have that 3rd base up and secured. Hasn't been using... Oh, I was about to say he hasn't been using his Chrono Boost super well, and then he just starts using his Chrono Boost. What do you know? Has kept his Phoenixes alive this whole game, and they've actually helped him survive those attacks by picking up some Hydras and Roaches to really whittle down the numbers there. And I'm fresh out of coffee, so I'm going to have to make some more. Good thing this is the last game. Or potentially the last game, actually. I don't know if there's a game after this. It just does feel like Hyun's got a pretty good lead coming out right now. Big pile of Roaches. Only a couple of Corruptors, but +1 on those as well. Once again, the upgrades aren't phenomenal out of the Zerg player. At this stage, you would think he'd be able to do a little bit better. Not up on Hive Tech yet, I don't think. Nope, just still on Lair. for me personally, I do, once I really feel like I've got command of the field, love getting out the upgrades, because if you run into some sort of funky composition or you run into a really bad exchange situation, you will still come out really favorably because upgrades matter so much in this matchup. Particularly, you don't really want to be behind. If you're a Zerg player and you're behind in your upgrades, you can find yourself just getting slaughtered by Colossus and Stalkers. Pretty good sized army here out of Hyun. There is a handful of Colossus. They're getting corrupted right now. There's not too many corruptors, but they are focusing down the Colossus pretty good. Colossus are getting off a lot of hits though. Not too many kills before they went down. Planetary Nexus is up, getting a little bit of damage in. All the Colossus are dead. Pretty big supply disparity here. I think this is probably it. There's just a little bit too many units on the back end of this. Too many Corruptors, they're going to knock down this Colossus really fast. And that's it. Just wow. GG, and the series goes to Gung Fu. Gung Fu started off really strong this matchup, then I think Hyun just heated up, figured out what kind of composition is going to work best. And we saw 4 quite similar games out of Gung Fu. No real change-ups in his playstyle throughout that. So I think Hyun just overall is probably a better player. So once you figure out what your matchup you're going up against is, you're just going to be able to produce better unit compositions and deal more damage. Really big economies. And the first 2 games, the Protoss player put on tons of early game pressure with Zealots and Stalkers. These games he's really sat back and tried to macro up, and it just didn't work out for him. Anywho, congratulations to Hyun. Hope you guys enjoyed that series, and we should have some more coming up real soon. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys later.